Welcome to our channel, where we delve into the stories that often remain in the shadows of mainstream media. Today, we invite you on a journey of discovery, unearthing the latest developments that are not only newsworthy, but transformative. Prepare to be amazed as we reveal insights and revelations that challenge the conventional narrative. Join us as we shine a light on the extraordinary and the forgotten, bringing you the stories that deserve to be told. Renewed interest in Pablo Escobar's fate has brought to light new insights and information that emerged in March of this year. As the notorious leader of the Medellín cartel, Escobar's life was marked by violence and power, culminating in his death on December 2, 1993. His violent end in a shootout with the Colombian National Police has long been surrounded by myth and speculation. Recent investigations and testimony have shed light on the events leading up to his final moments. New evidence suggests that Escobar may have had a more complex fate than previously understood, with additional details about his actions and decisions in the days leading up to his death. Please see the following.
Did they not kill him? Impressive detail revealed about Pablo Escobar's death. The largest drug trafficker in the country died on December 2, 1993. The history of Colombia is completely tied to drug trafficking. Thus, the most notorious Colombian drug lord, sought internationally in the 1980s and 1990s, was Pablo Escobar. He managed to send enormous quantities of drugs abroad, becoming a target for justice worldwide. After many years of searching for him, arresting him, imprisoning him, and even negotiating with Escobar, on December 2, 1993, in Medellín, Escobar died during a police operation. Since then, and up to now, the version that was widely accepted was that the drug lord was killed by the authorities, which was considered an achievement, given that he was being pursued not only by the Colombian police but also by international forces, including the American one. However, in recent days, a new account of what really happened that day has emerged. According to Escobar's sister, Alba Marina Gaviria, who uses her second surname to avoid being associated with her brother, she stated in the podcast, Beyond Silence, that the death of the Medellín cartel member was actually different from what has been said for over 30 years. According to Gaviria in the podcast, after her brother moved to La Catedral, a lot of very bad things started, referencing that there were planes monitoring the area where Pablo was. When Escobar was planning his escape, he communicated with his sister and told her, "Hide everyone because they are going to torture him to find me." Unaware of the future that awaited them. Suicide? When he was transported in a taxi, he would get out at a certain point and didn't know where he was going because I would close my eyes. I didn't know where Pablo was. When they said it was by the obelisk, I left, she stated. When her brother was already on the roof of the house, they took off his mustache, did the devil's work. I was going to go up, and they wouldn't let me. Pablo had nothing, blood on his body. Pablo committed suicide. This is the first time the detail of the drug lord's death has been known. On the other hand, the version that had been presented was that the then police commander Hugo Aguilar, along with other police members, recounted in his book, How I Killed Pablo Escobar, I took the radio and shouted, "Long live Colombia."
Now let's get back to the positive side of Latin America and look at the 10 cities with the best quality of life in South America.
There is a Colombian. Latin American cities with the best quality of life. Some of the aspects evaluated in the ranking were housing prices and the cost of living. The most recent Numbeo ranking of Latin American countries with the best quality of life highlighted the cities where their inhabitants live better. The ranking assessed aspects such as purchasing power, safety, pollution, health, housing prices, cost of living, traffic, and even climate. Cuenca was the city that scored the highest across various evaluated areas. Additionally, in the security sector, it achieved 54.05 points, one of the highest in comparison to other cities in the region. See more. How a hand injury opened the door to Disney for a Colombian artist. The ranking evaluated 18 South American cities. The total scores in the selected areas ranged between 140.69 and 75.13. However, the 10th position achieved a score of 120.16. Thus, the list is as follows: Cuenca, Ecuador; Curitiba, Brazil; Florianopolis, Brazil; Campinas, Brazil; Montevideo, Uruguay; Brasilia, Brazil; Belo Horizonte, Brazil; Medellín, Colombia; Quito, Ecuador; Porto Alegre, Brazil. It is worth mentioning that, further down, in 14th position with a score of 91.41 is the capital of the country, Bogotá. And with the lowest score in the ranking in the region, Caracas, Venezuela occupies the last place.
On April 14, 2025, another little reported piece of information emerged about a shocking archaeological find in Cartagena, Colombia. In this startling archaeological revelation, the remains of 940 individuals have been discovered at the site of a Catholic convent in Cartagena, Colombia. This remarkable find offers profound insight into a chapter of history marked by suffering and oppression, emblematic of the darkest aspects of Spanish colonization. Cartagena, a city that played a pivotal role during the Spanish conquest, was notorious for its involvement in the Inquisition, a dark period characterized by the persecution of indigenous peoples. According to historical accounts, these inquisitions were carried out by officials of the Catholic Church, under the authority of the papal bull Intertwining, issued by Pope Alexander VI in 1493. This edict granted the Spanish crown the right to claim and convert lands in the New World, often leading to violent measures against those deemed heretics or non-believers. The skeletal remains discovered at the convent serve as a chilling testament to the human cost inflicted by these religious authorities. Under the guise of maintaining their faith, countless indigenous men, women, and children faced persecution, torture, and death at the hands of inquisitors enforcing the Pope's edict. This grim story illustrates the complex relationship between faith and power at a time when colonial ambitions overshadowed the sanctity of life. As each of the skeletons is examined, we are confronted with the legacies of colonialism and religious zeal that still resonate today. This discovery challenges us to confront the truth of our past, acknowledging the voices silenced by a zealous mission that sought to eradicate indigenous beliefs in the name of Christianity. Join us as we delve deeper into this significant discovery, exploring its implications for our understanding of history and the ongoing discourse around justice and reconciliation. The revelations in Cartagena remind us that the wounds of the past must be acknowledged and addressed as we continue to navigate the legacy of colonial oppression.
An unprecedented discovery. Archaeologists find 900 skeletons in Colonial Convent of Cartagena. A team of archaeologists made the discovery of the skeletal structures identified in the San Francisco Convent, located in the historic center of Bolívar's capital. The research could provide details about life during the colonial period. The University of Norte confirmed the discovery of nearly 940 skeletons found in the San Francisco Convent in Cartagena after months of investigation. The team led by archaeologist and anthropologist Monica Terrian identified multiple skeletal structures that will be examined by specialists to learn details about the city during the colonial period. The discovery was made through the investigative process carried out by the Erigaie Foundation as part of an archaeological project developed in the historic center of Cartagena. The University of Norte initiated the study of the biological remains to understand the living conditions and other historical elements regarding Bolívar's capital. We have found a very interesting diversity of population that reflects the demographic composition of that Cartagena. We have found individuals associated with European, African, and indigenous ancestry, as well as individuals showing the process of biological mestizaje, explained anthropologist and researcher Javier Rivera. According to the rector of the University of Norte, Adolfo Meisel, researchers from the educational institution have conducted initial work with a sample of 160 skeletons to establish the well-being of people during the colonial period. Experts indicate that findings regarding height were crucial in understanding their diet, detailing activities, and uncovering key data about their health status. Additionally, researchers reiterated that the skeletal structures will facilitate the identification of beliefs, faith, and health conditions of the colonial era. Therefore, a specific analysis will be conducted to reconstruct the demographic profile of the individuals buried in the convent and define the diseases they may have suffered. A photograph of Colonial Cartagena. Key findings from the research in the San Francisco convent in Cartagena. Javier Rivera, a researcher from the Department of History and Social Sciences at the University of Norte, revealed that most of the skeletons identified in the old convent correspond to the bodies of members of the elite of the time, who were buried there as a representation of their significance in colonial society. The church governed much of the habits and daily life, but at the same time, there were other discourses and practices that coexisted, enriching life in Cartagena with indigenous and African elements, making the city a unique node where the African, indigenous, and European cultures intertwine, Rivera explained during the official presentation of the discovery. Furthermore, researchers from the Erigaie Foundation reported that along with the skeletons of children found in the convent, multiple amulets and other elements were identified, used as part of the coexistence between Catholic and pagan beliefs, which would have been buried in the convent between the late 16th and 19th centuries. One of the most significant findings of the research pertains to the identification of women who may have been killed for their involvement in the wars of independence. Apparently, these revolutionaries received violent public punishments to deter others from joining the city's independence armies in the 19th century. The Department of History and Social Sciences at the University of Norte also established that the cost of conducting a burial in the San Francisco convent doubled the fees charged for ceremonies held in the city's cathedral. In fact, it was revealed that to pay for a burial in this historic religious site, the equivalent of 141 days' wages was required. Finally, researchers found that a large portion of the deaths during that era were due to infectious, gastrointestinal, and parasitic diseases, primarily caused by the rapid population growth in a city facing serious sanitation and hygiene challenges that affected the quality of the water consumed.